And what is considered to be a major upheaval in Karnataka, the governor has in fact asked for the prosecution of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah in the MUDA scam. Well, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah will be prosecuted in the MUDA scam in a huge political development. Karnataka Governor Thawar-Chand Gehlot has signed the file granting sanction to prosecute the Chief Minister. This decision follows allegations of what is considered to be an illegal way for getting allocation of sites to his wife under the Mysuru Urban Development Authority. The sanction now opens the door for official investigation into the Chief Minister's actions, raising questions about his future in the position as Chief Minister of Karnataka. With this, the Congress party now faces a very critical question as with regard to whether he would be allowed to continue as the Chief Minister, or there is pressure mounting from within the leaders of the party in Karnataka and from the centre over the issue of the MUDA scam. It is being said that yesterday, G. Parameswara, the Home Minister, had said that though the prosecution sanction would be given by the governor, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah will continue in his position. We are joined in by T.J. Abraham on the phone line, who is the one who in fact initiated the request for the prosecution. T.J. Abraham, do you think that finally some kind of movement is happening on something that you have been fighting for long?
That's right. I would agree. I would agree that something is moving forward, yes.
Well, T.J. Abraham, can you just speak about how you in fact started off with this case and how you decided to go against Siddaramaiah on this particular aspect of it? Though Siddaramaiah has been claiming that he has gone by the rule book. He's been saying that he's used the 50-50 scheme that has been given by the BJP government itself on this. So why are you going ahead and trying to prosecute me for something that I've gone by the rule book? But then the affidavit tells a whole different story about the history of this particular land completely.
Yes. Now, my issue, I started with the issue because the one guy called Gangaraj from Mysuru, who had been making some noise about this. He sent me the documents, and when I went through the documents, I could make out it's a crystal clear case of an alternative site being given in lieu of nothing taken by MUDA. Nothing taken by MUDA. So this is the one-line answer. Nothing was taken or belonging to Siddaramaiah's family, but in lieu of nothing being taken, they have been given 14 sites. This is the case. Now, why I would say that is 2004, when Mr. Siddaramaiah's brother-in-law allegedly bought that land, whichever land he is claiming. That land was no more a village, no more an agricultural land. It had become Devanuru Badavane, Devanuru third stage layout. Sites were distributed to beneficiaries. How can Siddaramaiah's brother-in-law buy land which has already lost its name? Lost its
So
shape.
are you saying that, the entire history of this transaction, saying that it was agricultural land, is technically only on paper? It is much more kind
Only
of a
on
background
paper.
work that's taken place.
No, all those stories. I'm not getting into who was the owner, who got transferred, who sold it. All that is not immaterial to me. My specific pointed question is, 2004, it was no more that village, whatever village. I don't want to even repeat the name of the village.
Okay.
2004, it was not there. It was Devanuru third stage. Then how do you claim that you bought the land and you had the land and then you converted the what conversion? How can you convert a land which is already developed? Everything happens. Every fraudulent act after that, subsequently, or even prior to that, I would say 98, when the land was denotified in the name of a dead man. In the name of a dead man, I repeat that. If it was notified, denotified, that is an illegal act. That illegal act, if you say, I had nothing to do with it, sir, your house, it's in your house. The product of that illegal act is now in your house. How do you answer that? Explain that. And you yourself have claimed it's my land, it's your land. So if it is your land that you're claiming, it is not, which was never there, then you are also an accused. Simple.
So, TJ Abraham, land denotification has been a big issue in Karnataka. We've seen how the situation has been in Bengaluru. But when it
Severally,
comes
yes.
to Mysuru also, I mean, I think the next phase of development that we are looking at is probably in Mysuru, because Bengaluru is reaching its
Mysore.
complete,
Saturation.
possible, saturation point. So, do you think that Siddaramaiah's land issue that we look at is only tip of the iceberg? There could be more on that particular corridor.
There could be more. There could be more. There could be more. See, see, people are talking about the major scam. Those scams are what? Those scams are, supposing an influential man gets a site allotted in layout A. He would find that not very suitable for him, so he will choose a better layout, and because of his influence, they would have given it. That is called as irregularity. But in this case, it is not irregularity, it is illegality. You get the difference is, that scam that you're talking about is, that guy has got so many, he is supposed to get 30 by 40, instead of that he's got 80 by 80. These are irregularities.
All right.
Okay, but here there is no land, and in lieu of that no land, you get sites. From where? How can you be given?
We're also
That is the
joined in by
point.
Baswaraj Itnal, TJ Abraham. I'm just introduce him to us, senior journalist Baswaraj Itnal, who joins with us. Baswaraj, interestingly enough, TJ Abraham says there was first of all no land that was there for which you have been given 14 sites. There seems to be mostly only on paper that this land existed, it has a history of being an agricultural land, conversion, MUDA taking it off. So in paperwork, it seems to be there. But then there are discrepancies. How much of a scam is there in this, as claimed by the BJP, and of course the prosecution has been sanctioned by the governor on this aspect. TJ Abraham has been fighting on this. How much of that real estate probability that we have to look into it, especially, do you think a proper investigation should be conducted from a neutral agency, a law enforcement agency, to actually find out whether this was just a paperwork land that was there for which sites were announced, or is there more to it? Baswaraj, I think this thing is in mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you, yes.
By admission of the Chief Minister himself, the land that was surrendered belonged to a brother of his wife, and later on that land was gifted to his wife, and then it was surrendered to MUDA, and then after much later the compensation was claimed. In 2020 there was a policy change in MUDA, and it was applied retrospectively. This is prima facie information shared by CM himself, and Mr. TJ Abraham has found much more than that. He is a complainant, and let's not get into technicalities. But yes, urban development authorities are, a huge, they're sitting on a huge pile of corruption cases. All urban development authorities, whether it is PDA, MUDA, or Belgaum Urban Development Authority, name it, and there is always some scam or the other there. That is simply because urban development authorities were envisaged to be the nodal agencies in planning and plan implementation, town planning and town plan implementation. Rather, what happened practically is that they started in real estate business. They started developing sites and selling. That's the source of all corruption. And yeah, that's a bigger question, whether all urban development authorities needs to be investigated, or very concept of urban development authorities needs to be redefined. That's a broader question. But to me, as on today, the question is of propriety. I don't want to get into the technicalities or the merits or the demerits of the case, because the governor has sanctioned prosecution. There is court to adjudicate. TJ Abraham and his lawyers will go and argue the case. What court says, court says. But the political propriety, the constitutional propriety of Mr. Siddaramaiah is under question today, because the same Siddaramaiah was up in arms against Mr. Yediyurappa
When it came to denotification.
When the prosecution was sanctioned by the then governor seeking resignation of Yediyurappa. And also, Yediyurappa also had pressure within his own party. That's different thing. But behind that was Siddaramaiah's struggle. Behind that was Siddaramaiah's, a huge walkathon to Bellary. Now, can Siddaramaiah show the same propriety, same uprightness to make way for a fairer investigation. Tomorrow, when the court opens on Monday, the courts might say, we want to investigate this case. They might say they might ask for a judicial inquiry, or they might refer it to CBI. It's all under the discretion of the court. But instead of that, what Siddaramaiah is doing? Siddaramaiah and his government started, fumbling in terms of optics and also its narrative the day BJP demanded discussion on the floor of the House. They escaped, they evaded that debate, and they concluded that they adjourned the House, and then they go to the streets and start saying that he is innocent. He starts accusing Mr. Abraham of being a blackmailer outside the House, and he starts accusing BJP of various wrongdoings. If there is material, there may be material evidence, there may not be, but he had an opportunity to defend himself on the floor of the House. He forgoes that, but he makes noise on the streets, and then there is the application is pending before the governor, and now when the sanction comes through, right now what is his deliberation going on? What I'm hearing from various sources is that right now Siddaramaiah is planning to question and challenge the governor's sanction of prosecution itself, and it's very commonsensical. When on Monday, when the complaints go to the court, will the court examine the complaint first, or will they examine the sanction? Because sanction has been granted by a constitutional head. He is the head of the government of Karnataka. Is the court going to first examine and re-examine the governor's sanction, or are they going to examine Abraham and his colleagues' complaint first? Because court, in all likelihood, the court will first take note of the complaint. They will go into the merits of the complaint, and if they are sustainable, they will say yes, we'll prosecute, or let us have a detailed inquiry into this. Then the question arises: is Siddaramaiah going to sit in the chair and oversee his investigation against himself, or is he going to set an example, or rather follow a precedent of making way, resigning and making way for a fair investigation and a fair trial?
Rajan, T.J. Abraham, let me tell you, let me get that graphics of the comment made by the Home Minister of Karnataka, who said that despite the prosecution, he will continue as the Chief Minister. So that question of whether the person is going to be the complainant and the judge at the same time is going to, in fact, let's play what G. Parmeshwara had in fact said about this particular aspect when it was questioned about whether there's a chance of that prosecution happening. But this is what he exactly said. Even if the governor issues sanction to prosecute Siddaramaiah, there is no need for him to resign from his post, even on moral grounds, as the petition against him is of lies with no material evidence. Now, this is the statement that has been given by G. Parmeshwara on this particular aspect, and this was made just 2 days back. So, T.J. Abraham, how do you in fact look at this statement coming in from the government? It looks like all attempts is being made to protect Siddaramaiah in this particular case. T.J. Abraham, are you on the line?
I'm online.
Yeah.
I'm online.
So I was saying that
I heard you.
Yeah.
Their efforts to save Mr. Siddaramaiah is something which is expected. It's on expected lines. To claim that there is nothing in the complaint, I don't know if Parmeshwar has genuinely read my complaint. I will surely send it across to him. I will just give him a copy of what I've lodged before the court. Let him read it, and after that, if he says that, then I will comment about his reaction, because I'm sure he has not read it. If he has read it, he would never say there is not an iota of evidence against Mr. Siddaramaiah. It's very clear. My case is very, very clear, and I think the viewers would have understood it also. Where is the land that you claim has been taken by MUDA? Where was the land you claim is taken? It was not there, it is not there, and then how do you get alternative sites for that? Simple.
Well, T.J. Abraham, to understand more of this, let me ask this question. See, what we understand of real estate in Karnataka, especially, they talk about agricultural land. There's a conversion that goes to revenue land, and later you go for commercial purposes. There's a process involved in that entire thing. Now, who is
Yes.
privy to this entire information? The urban development authorities. They are the first one to be privy to the information even much before the larger public knows about it. They are privy to the
Yes.
satellite data, the revenue maps, the agriculture
Yes.
department maps, everything. And then
Yes.
it looks like the people who are privy to this are the ones who keep it
Yes.
secret, take some kind of advantage of the privileged information that they have, and then you have scams like
Exactly.
this coming in galore. So, what is the transparency mechanism that can be done for this?
No, who's going to bell the cat? Who needs transparency? Which political party which is in power or not in power? Which of them? Who amongst all the political parties would like to have transparency? Nobody wants it. It is insulated so well that people do not get information. That is the reality of life.
So we are saying that
Hello.
even right from the important, development plans that are put in forward for a city like Bengaluru or Mysuru, there is no way that any of this information can be made transparent right now in the current system.
According to law, they are supposed to put it up in their website. They do not. And even if they put it up on the website, you will not be able to open it. Every time you, it is a technical glitch, technical failure. This is the normal answer that you get.
Well,
They pretend to be transparent, but then they will ensure that transparency is not there. That is the
okay.
way they operate.
Right, TJ Abraham. My last question now to Itnal. Itnal, we've spoken about transparency not being there in the system. We have seen, as I was telling you, the real estate in Karnataka is in some kind of an opaque system. The people have no idea about what's happening. You know, as you said, when you rightly, I understand when you say that it's a real estate, project that most of these urban development authorities have taken, and that is where the entire corruption lies. The privileged information from maps to old maps to satellite imagery is all with them, and therefore access is only for those who have privilege, and those who are in the government are the ones who have access to it. Not even developers. Developers tend to in fact pay to get access to that kind of an information. So that is also creating a huge corruption network. Where can transparency be restored in this entire thing? Because denotification, a real estate scam. Right now, MUDA, a real estate scam involving high-level politicians on prime land, which could be, set out for development. So, first mover advantage always given to those who are associated in a coterie with a politician. Where is transparency going to come in this case?
As long as politicians have vested interest in real estate of Bangalore, forget about transparency. There are technical solutions to it, there are administrative solutions to it, but they will never be implemented as long as politicians have vested interest in real estate. Why somebody wants Ramnagar to be called Bangalore South? Why somebody wants Greater Bangalore? Why somebody wants Bangalore Mahanagarapalika? It is simply because you want to add more and more, real estate tags to it. And who are who stand to benefit? And where the airport should come, where the second airport should happen, where the industrial area is planned, all that is being closely controlled by politicians and their coterie members. And that is, it's a very difficult, like Mr. Abraham said, it's very difficult to cut through that, firewall or iron wall of secrecy, which is not supposed to be there in the first place. We can understand in terms of major projects or industrial development, industrial areas and all. But urban development authorities have no business to be in real estate. Their only constitutional duty is to oversee plan implementation and evolve master plans from time to time. That's all there is to it. Why they are vested with real estate business, and in Bangalore they have built even flyovers and bridges? Because the work that is to be otherwise to be done by BBMP, which is a third-tier government, it is third-tier constitutional body, and it is autonomous to a great extent. The politicians do not want that. They want directly to control Bangalore's development. That's why Bangalore Development Authority does flyovers, bridges, layouts, everything. Because it's not an elected body, it directly reports to the government of Karnataka. So they want direct control because stakes are very high. That explains everything. That explains also the lack of transparency. Like TJ Abraham said, They are supposed to display all these things beforehand on the websites. You open the website, either they are late, put very late, or they are technical glitch, or they are so cluttered that you don't know, how to reach there.
Right.
You really need to be a technical wizard to reach there. At least they should publish in newspapers. They don't do that. They
Yeah.
publish only when they notify. They do
Right.
not publish beforehand.
Right.
They do not publish at planning stage.
Right. Well, thank you, Basuraj Itnal, as well as TJ Abraham for, in fact, joining us. Before we leave, we, in fact, leave you the reaction coming in from Tejasvi Surya on this aspect of prosecution against Siddaramaiah.
The Honorable Governor of Karnataka has sanctioned the prosecution against Chief Minister Siddaramaiah regarding the very serious allegations he has been facing regarding the MUDA scam. This is a very significant development. The serious allegations, the nature of the allegations are very serious. The investigating agencies will now have to start the process of prosecution. And needless to say, one cannot expect the Chief Minister to continue in office while agencies that report to him are investigating the allegations and charges made against him. So the principles of natural justice and the principles of morality demand that Chief Minister Siddaramaiah must resign and make way for the impartial investigation into these very serious allegations, into these very serious charges. We hope that the Chief Minister will take moral responsibility and resign forthwith and make available an impartial investigation into these serious allegations.
Well, that's all in this edition of the Bulletin. Stay tuned to News 9 for further news updates.